Hello steampunk boys and girls, Bob back with you for another steampunk how-to tutorial. Today we're going to talk about the hip holster. It's an accessory worn by just about any steampunk character, mainly the gunslinger. That's where the gun would go, but it can be used for just about any character with some creative variation. As always, I'm going to show you the high end of making these with fabrics you can buy and items you can buy at the store, but more importantly, the low end, things you can find at a local thrift store. And those of you who don't have a lot of money and still want to be very creative, that's where I'm going to put my focus today. You're not going to find steampunk patterns at your local fabric shop, so you're almost inevitably going to have to make your own. In this case, I made my first gun holster pattern out of Christmas wrapping paper. It's about as cheap as it gets. When I designed it, I had to make sure that the waist was longer than my 30-inch waist because it's going over belts, suspenders, and pants. So I gave myself a lot of room here to extend. I also could not make the top of it straight. Your hips are skinnier than your legs, so you want to put a divot in the top of it so that this flares out at the bottom when you walk, right? I have two kinds of fabric. What will be the lining on the back side of the gun holster and the top layer. As you can see from the example I have, the lining on the back side and the top layer, you're going to pin these two items together all the way down as you add the pattern on top of it. That way, when you draw all the way around, and I'm doing it in halves again to make sure everything is equal on both sides, and you draw the line and then you cut out, you're cutting both layers so that your fabric pattern, which will look basically like this, is already pinned together. How do you get the two pieces that you pinned together and cut sewn together? There are ways and means to do it. If you don't have the sewing capabilities of a machine, go to the local fabric store. They have ways and means to link two pieces of fabric together without needing a sewing machine. Talk to them. They will be more than happy to sort of guide you along. I am actually going to speak to as if you have sewn these together like I have, along the bottom side of the whole pattern. I've left an opening on top, right, to the whole thing, because we're going to have to get in here and sew the stuff by hand onto the top of it. Now for the fun stuff. How do you decorate this so that it truly looks like a steampunk holster? I actually did a very low budget. A friend of mine was an engineer. I asked him to take apart some machinery that he was working on, and he got me the interior gears and pistols and all that. So we're going to use some of these, but here's some other low budget things that I discovered. These are from a pair of shoes, and I'm actually going to put these together like this and then string lace so that you can put something inside of it. Super easy, super easy, and very inexpensive. If you look at this past design, this actually came from an old book bag, and since it was all seamed up already and this sort of works as well, I just added it onto there. The key to great steampunk design is usefulness. The pocket here, these I'm going to put roughly there, sew them down, and then string lace through these so you can actually stick stuff inside of this. Then I'm going to add, scoot those over a bit, add a little strap here, and again, so that stuff can go inside of it. Be careful, this is where your hip is, so you don't want anything bulky there. So this will be very thin. And then the rest is just being very creative with gears, buttons, whatever you find. Okay, add a button there, and that's pretty much the layout. These have to be hand sewn for the most part. I might be able to get a sewing machine on this one, but all of this will have to be hand sewn or fabric glued, either way. Once you've added all your stuff on top and sewn them down, which I won't do at the moment, you have to piece this together. So I will show you on this side. I actually am going to string a standard shoelace right across the top just do a stitch all the way across the top so that it is seamed. You can use anything. You can use a strip of leather, and then when you get to the ends, all I am going to do to keep it very simple is add a piece of Velcro, one on this side, one on this side, and that'll be the waist. You can go as complicated or as easy. Easy as Velcro. You can do complicated gears and buckles and clips, carabiner clips, whatever. That's up to you. I want to keep this one very simple in this design. So what do you do when you don't have fabric? What do you do if you've never been to a fabric store or have designed anything? Try the local thrift store. This is actually a piece from an old book bag that I had. And it's got this really awesome leather design in it already built in. I stripped it away from the original book bag. It's got all the crazy backing on it. And this will become, on another gun holster, basically the body like that. I'm doing nothing other than adding a piece of lining on the back. Talk about simple, and it cost me nothing. What do you do for the straps? Well, maybe on another gun holster, I actually am going to use these as the straps that come out. These are actually a button strip from, I think, an old pair of bib overalls that I got at a thrift store for, $2. And for $2, you can't buy this kind of material with the buttons already attached. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in to all the other videos. Take care.